Hey, movie fans, welcome to Popcorn Talk Network's Meet the Movie Press. We're going to talk about weekend box office Boffo, Blumhouse boards deplane, Annapurna becomes ANNAPURINA, casting news, James Gunn commits suicide. What am I talking about? Hell if I know, but tune in and we'll find out together.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk, we talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Meet the Movie Press.
Hello, everybody. Demetri Panos here for Meet the Movie Press on Popcorn Talk Network. Today is Friday the 12th. Yes, Friday, October 12th. We're almost halfway through the month. Holy cow. So, as you can tell with Sans, the English accent, Simon is still on assignment in England. He's working on the age-old mystery of, did you get chocolate in my peanut butter or peanut butter in my chocolate? And hopefully he will be back soon. He is, however, here. He's watching us right now from across the pond. Ain't technology grand, folks? So, without further ado, we got to introduce the panel. We have a newbie. So I'm going to start all the way across the table. Rama.
What up?
What up? How are you? Welcome.
Good. Thank you for having me on.
Of course. What do you do? Why are you here?
Oh, I'm just a drifter.
We picked him up off the road.
Exactly. Hey, come me over here. No, I'm a YouTuber, blogger, been a lover of movies ever since I could remember. And Forrest Gump is my favorite movie of all time.
Nice. Nothing wrong with that. And then we have a returning guest. Me Too, don't bother her because she's back with us again. So, kids, hey, what's happening?
How are you guys doing?
Good.
Thanks for having me. Yep, Kip Bowen. I'm an editor, film critic for Screen Picks. I also worked for Rotten Tomatoes, Fandango, We Live Entertainment. And you can follow me at The Movie Kit. And I'm really excited about talking about the movies today.
Me too, because nothing happened this week.
Yeah.
So, and then, of course, sitting right next to me, my good friend, colleague, Scott. Hey,
hi, Demetri. How are you? You know, you keep the energy level up really loud here. I'm good.
Good. Yeah, everybody's going to go deaf except for Simon because,
we're really excited today. Hello, folks.
I am very
in the
excited
chat?
today. Yes, and folks on the chat, let me just say something too quickly about those folks in the chat.
Look at this.
Look at that.
Simon, come back. We miss you.
Yeah, that's fine, Jody. I miss him too.
Hashtag sad face.
Yeah, I know.
Hashtag
Jody, I miss him too.
Panda.
But I wanted to do a shout out to all the people who watch us live because that's a commitment.
Yeah.
It really is. And because of you, it means a lot to the show. I know it really means a lot to Simon, and we fight really hard and we do our best to entertain and give you the best news as fresh as possible. So why don't we just start getting into it? I started off box office Boffo.
Yeah,
I mean, what's that mean? Last week's box office between Venom and A Star Is Born, record breaking. Whether you liked either movie or not, it doesn't matter. It was good for the business.
Yeah.
Just for sake of this conversation, literally about a year ago, around this time period, our box office today from a year ago is up 53%.
Wow.
That's crazy. And it's because there's variety at cinema. You couldn't pick two more diverse movies to open up against each other, right? That's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Well, we talked about Venom and how, there is sort of this disparity between what the critics thought of the movie and I guess what the audience thought of the movie. Which is fine. That's what it's all about. I mean, the movies are made for the audience. They're not necessarily made for us critics. But I'm actually a little happy that Venom did so well because maybe there will be a sequel and maybe they can make it a better movie.
Right.
As we said, the last 5 minutes of the movie were the best parts in the movie because that's when you really saw that character.
Agreed. And, by combined $175 million at the box office, Venom does $80 million. Star Is Born sings to the tune of $42+ million. So, Venom beats an October box office record. And I'm just going to say it right now. My prediction, though, is when Halloween comes out, it's going to beat. That one's going to take the cake. 85 plus, I think, right? So let's move along to, let's start a Blumhouse corner.
All right.
Blumhouse Corner.
You were leading into that already with the Halloween.
I was. It was a segue. That's what they call that. Yeah. See what I was doing? So, Blumhouse Corner, they're filling up first class on the plane to Fantasy Island. And they just not only, all right, so we've got Dave Bautista just signed on board, right? That's big.
Yeah.
And they just, now here's the thing, Michael Pena was just signed on to play Mr. Roarke. And when I first, me too. So, panel, what do you think? Michael Pena, Mr. Roarke.
I gotta be honest with you, I didn't grow up with the Montalban version. But I'm looking forward to that HBO film with Jamie Dornan. I read the synopsis. It looks like how do you call it? A bunch of groups, right? A group of people coming to an island, and then there's some mystery, and then it's not what they expect. Something happens to them. So and it's directed by Truth or Dare Helmer. So I'm a little not too enthusiastic right now at this point.
Really?
I am.
Yeah.
Well, he was talking about the HBO movie he's talking about is My Dinner with.
Oh yeah, that other one.
Hervé,
Yeah, but this one
Peter
also.
Dinklage
That's
playing,
I'm talking about Jeff Wadlow.
Hervé
How do you say his
Villechaize.
name? Villechaize, yeah.
Yeah.
So that looks kind of
It
interesting.
was tattoo.
He was tattoo, yes. The plane,
was
the
the
plane.
plane.
The plan.
No, I think Michael Pena, you know what? He's always been interesting to me.
Yeah.
And whatever he ends up doing. So I think he's going to be great. But who's Bautista playing?
Yeah.
Batista's playing he's playing one of the guests.
Oh.
Yeah, he's playing one of the guests.
Yeah, apparently it's more of a horror-ish type
Yeah,
film,
well,
right?
okay,
It's
so
kinda like-
let's get into this because this week was the first time I got any hint of what this movie was going to be
Right.
about. So it's described as being a tonal mix of Westworld meets Cabin in the Woods, centering a group of contest winners who arrive at an island hotel to live out their dreams,
There you go.
only to find themselves trapped in nightmare scenarios. So it looks like we've been,
bored.
Yeah.
well, we've been talking
You got me
about
with Westworld versus and Cabin in
Cabin
the
in the
Woods.
Woods, and we've been talking about this movie for a little bit
Yes.
here on Meet the Movie Press, and we've talked about what they could potentially do tonally, and it's what we just described, right?
Yeah, I mean, this movie has so much potential. And, I mean, Blumhouse, we know they're a master of the movies, of horror movies, of the horror genre.
Right.
And I think that even someone like Rama, who has never seen an episode of this show, I think they can have a whole new appreciation for this film. And Blumhouse just knows what they're doing. I do want to also say something real quick. The movie Hellfest that came out a couple weeks ago, I can only imagine how much more successful that movie would have been if it was at Blumhouse.
Yeah.
That's all I want to say.
Yeah.
I think if I may add also, the thing that will get me interested in this Fantasy Island movie is the rest of the cast. I know it's going to be ensemble, correct? It's going to be a lot of people in it, and so I want to see who else they're going to get. And number two, if one of the characters is in on it all along, there's a mastermind that's a twist.
Yeah.
Well, in the show, Roarke was the
Roarke was the-
host,
okay.
okay? He was the host to this. And basically the premise of the show was these people booked passage to Fantasy Island to live out their fantasies. And at the end of the show, they end up finding or learning more about themselves because maybe their fantasy didn't live up to what they were going, and there were some twists and
But
turns.
it's not horror.
It was
It's like
fantasy.
a mystery.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
a fantasy mystery.
Yeah,
type
absolutely.
thing.
With the
then-
moral center.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It was almost like a Twilight Zone, except there wasn't like the twist at the end, but it had that moral center, and like every time you left the island, you became more enriched as a person. You left a better person than when you came in. Ricardo Montalban has a gravitas to him, for sure. But I think with Michael Pena, I think that's great. But then it makes me wonder, what are they going to do with Tattoo, if they'll have Tattoo at all? Do they try to find a little person? Like, do they try to find a Hervé Villechaize
Type.
actor type? Or do they go female? Like, what do they do? What are your thoughts on casting Tattoo?
Yeah, I mean, if you're naming a movie Fantasy Island, you kind of have to have that
Yes.
kind of a character.
I
Now,
agree.
whether they make it, whether they make it a little person or not, or if I think a female would be great. I think that would be awesome. To have like a sidekick, like that way.
I agree.
But you have to have Tattoo.
I mean, but what I'm worried about with this is so far with the casting that they announced, this seems like it's going to have a higher budget than most Blumhouse movies.
That's true.
I think they're going to try to keep it like they're still going to try to keep it within their wheelhouse of budget.
Yeah.
Is what I also read too. So Bautista's not. We're going to talk more about him later, but he's. I think he's good in he's not. He doesn't seem like a money grabber. Knowing that a project's good and it interests him, I think he can do it.
Plus, he has the Marvel money already. So.
True. This is true. So hey, let's go to our comments. So we got So Sky, hey Sky, welcome. I see you chatting with Simon. Yes, the idea of Cabin in the Woods meets Westworld for Blumhouse Fantasy Island, cool. But give it someone like David Mackenzie, Jennifer Kent, Eli Roth, Colette Serra. I get it, and I don't disagree. But I think Blumhouse with Wadlow, I think that they know him and they know how to work with him, and they feel. One thing I never underestimate about Blumhouse is picking their talent for directors.
That's true.
So I'm okay. I'm okay with that. Not that Truth or Dare was fantastic,
but it wasn't awful.
It wasn't awful, and I like.
It was a good laugh.
I like
a good laugh.
It's comedy, yeah.
Yeah.
I dare you.
Especially at the end.
So yeah, I'm all for that. So and then what else? Somebody else had something about Fantasy Island was not horror. So and this has come from Judy. They're just taking the name and doing their own thing. I don't like this. Well, that's fine. I wouldn't necessarily. I would let it breathe. Let it breathe, Jody, and keep on tuning in to Meet the Movie Press because we will talk about Fantasy
the
Island
casting is
upcoming.
key, like you said.
Exactly.
Yes, very much so.
So Sky, you really think 60 to 70 million? That would be way too high for.
I think so.
Jesus,
that would be risky for
Blumhouse
Blumhouse too.
would be. Yeah, that would be. That's really big.
I don't even think the budget on Halloween was that much.
No,
and
no,
that's
no,
gonna
no,
make that much money back.
I don't think so. Yes, and Phil Smythe, we love the Blum too. That's why we dedicated a whole corner to Blumhouse Corner here at Meet the Movie Press. So let's move on. I'm gonna move on to some more of the casting stuff, and then there's stuff that really deserves a lot of conversation. So since we talked about Stars Born, Anthony Ramos is going to star in Lin-Manuel Miranda's In the Heights movie based off the Broadway play. Well, good for him. No, I'm like, good for him. I'm not being sarcastic. I mean, that's great. And he's working with Lin. What are you laughing at?
Your energy. No, I'm just kidding.
And this will be a movie.
I love it.
This will be a movie right up your alley.
In the Heights?
Yeah.
In the Heights,
This guy loves movies.
I saw it on Broadway. I loved it.
Yeah. Did you?
Yes, I did.
Was it
I was
good?
living on the East Coast, yeah.
Nice.
This was funny because Lin-Manuel, this was one of his first shows, and people really didn't talk that much about this one. But it was a huge hit in New York. A lot of people were talking about it then when it came out. But it kind of faded away since Hamilton. And I'm very surprised that they're actually going to do this one before they do Hamilton the movie, because I would think with all the buzz around Hamilton right now, that one you should kind of do that one now because it would be really hot, it would be really big.
Yeah.
But they're doing In the Heights, so that's an interesting move.
I think it is an interesting move, but isn't somebody already doing Hamilton though?
I don't know.
thought.
Is it being made into
Well,
a
they were supposed to be doing Book of Mormon musical
Sure.
movie
Oh,
I
for
wanna
like
see that.
for years.
I am so in.
I don't know what the hell's taking so long for
Wait,
that.
everybody! I gotta. Simon was on, and,
Yes.
and he says Eugenio Derbez would make a great Ricardo Montalban. Yes.
Yes.
In Overboard 2, he would be fantastic. No. It's actually, yeah, he could maybe, but I like Michael Pena. I like Michael Pena.
I do too.
Yeah, I think he's really good.
He'll have that
so.
twinkle in his eye. I think that's kind of key to that character. Yeah.
So let's move on a little bit too. So all right, so Godzilla King of Monsters hasn't even been released yet. We're about a year out, and they're already talking about casting Godzilla vs. King Kong. And we got Brian Tyree Henry, who's nominated for the Emmys. He's on FX's Atlanta. This Is Us. He's been cast along with Millie Bobby Brown. So this movie's coming out in like another 20 years, and we're already talking casting about it. Am I fine with it?
Seems about right.
Yeah, it seems about right.
I mean, what are you guys' feelings about King of Monsters from the trailer?
Eh.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward.
Me too.
I'm looking forward to King of All Monsters.
Because you're gonna see.
Why?
Well, because I think this. Well, for Godzilla fans, they're gonna have all the other monsters that are so popular, right? They're gonna have
Right,
what's
and
his name?
I think
Mothra
King Kong
and-
Skull Island really set that up
Yes.
really well at the end. If you stayed for
Oh,
the very
yeah,
end
the end
credits,
credits, yeah.
and all the, so I think they really set that up well. So we're gonna get a great versus movie out of that, and sure.
But Godzilla wasn't that good.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
No.
Every time.
It was okay.
Every time there was something colossal, epic fights about to happen, they cut to something boring,
Yeah.
all the way until the end, and then it wasn't even like satisfactory. Like, what? That's all you got? So I hope this sequel, King of the Monsters, would give us more. At least like Skull Island. That really satisfied my action fan in me.
Yeah,
I
same
also
here.
think that it's funny because, like Kit was pointing out, the main reason I think people are going to go towards this movie is because of the monsters.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's what sells it for me. If they just named this Godzilla again, I would probably be like, nah, you disappointed me already the first time. But it's the monsters and the build up from Kong. I'm on board, even though I'm not wowed by anything I saw so far.
I'm
Yeah.
kind of excited about it.
I'm looking forward to it too. We'll go to the movies together. We'll see
Okay,
that
we'll
one.
see that one together.
So, Simon, Overboard 2, Noverboard. That's why we miss you here, Simon, for Noverboard. And yes, Overboard actually did do very well. It was my wife's company, Panaleon, that released that, so I'll give a shout out there.
right.
There's more casting news, so catch this. So we got Matthew McConaughey, Kate Beckinsale, the crazy rich Asian breakthrough Henry Golding are going to be in, of all people, Guy Ritchie is coming back in a movie called Toff Guys. Toff, almost like toffee, maybe, I guess.
Tough.
Simon,
Maybe toff
what's
is like-
toft? Is that the
like
English
tough
for tough?
guys,
So this is a movie penned by Ritchie, and it's going to explore collision between what? What are you laughing at?
He
now?
doesn't like
Just
Guy Ritchie.
Guy Ritchie, man.
Guy Ritchie. You don't like Guy Ritchie?
no.
Not at all.
Although,
Not even his earlier
although,
movies.
yeah, we'll talk about that
right.
later.
So- So it's collision between old money European wealth and the modern marijuana industrial
I
complex.
have never
with-
seen this movie before.
Well, now that it's legal, here, so now it's topical. So I mean, that's quite a cast he's got going already.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
So-
I like Guy Ritchie. I mean, I know he's made some mistakes as any director does, but I think this seems like he's going back to his Brit roots, and
Yes.
he's always done well with those kinds of movies. You know.
The gangster comedy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like Lock, Stock, and Snatch.
And two.
Right.
Yeah.
Snatch, yeah.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I hope this works for him.
Yeah.
I hope this works for him.
yeah.
So,
Can't be
and
any
he's
worse
doing-
than King
well,
Arthur.
Yeah, but he's doing. Yeah, well, that's true. But he's doing Disney too.
I know,
This
which
Disney
is what I
movie.
wanted
Yeah.
to bring it up. But we're talking about that later, right?
Yeah,
Aladdin?
absolutely,
Yeah, which-
absolutely. We're going to talk a little bit later. And then Lawrence Kasdan. We'll jump over to great screenwriter, director,
Star Wars legend.
Star Wars legend, Indiana Jones legend. He's adapting. He's coming back. He's directing again, and which is great. And he's going to direct this adaptation of a Lou Berney novel called November Road. I'm looking forward to this. The book, from what I understand, not quite out yet, but it is a nerve-wracking crime thriller combined with stirring romantic love story. In the spirit of No Country for Old Men, Man on Fire, and Witness, November Road is a story of second chances and redemption. These are the kinds, like, this sounds like a Western, and I think Kasdan is perfect
Yes.
in Westerns. Silverado is
Silverado.
one of the most underrated
right.
Westerns, right?
Yes.
And then even Solo is a Western, which I really liked, and he wrote that with his son, Indiana Jones. This is his wheelhouse.
Yes.
Dreamcatcher, not so much. This works. I'm on board.
I know. Me too.
I can't wait.
Me too. Wait, didn't Lawrence? I can't remember.
It's interesting because he's moved away from the Star Wars universe to try this. So the only thing that I'm concerned about is him still being timely enough to actually produce something or direct something that's going to be a hit with masses.
Right.
Because I see this more as being an independent film.
Yeah.
And,
Could be.
And I'm just, it's a strange news story to me because this is the man behind like so many big iconic franchises, and he's doing something like this so late in the game. I don't know. It seems strange to me. I don't know why.
That's ageism. Ageism.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
You know, and he's his son's probably like, "Come on, Dad, you should direct again," you know, because he's so good too. But I it's about stories, so I don't care how old you are if you're a director. If it's a good story,
I know that, but it's just, isn't it? It's so weird. Someone coming who's just so popular in Hollywood and is such a big name who is attached to so many valuable properties to kind of turn around and do something like this.
But this is what he came from. Don't you remember this is the guy that did Grand Canyon?
It's weird though, because it's almost like, did the last Star Wars film really hurt so many people that like he kind of wants to go back to something that he's really passionate about?
Right.
Exactly.
I just find that interesting, because this aftermath of Solo, it just seems to be like all across the board for everything, with everyone who was involved with it. It's very weird to me.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward. We're going to step back a sec because Simon came through.
Yeah.
Toffs are posh people, the elite.
Oh.
So whatever we are, not it. So that's it.
We're not tough.
We're not tough. No, toffee.
Toffee.
Yeah, taffy.
I will eat
Laffy
Toffee.
taffy.
Laffy
Taffy is what we are. So in going back, Sky Patterson, Matthew McConaughey, Kate Beckinsale, Guy Ritchie, he's all in. Cool. Yeah. Go ahead, Ritchie. Do whatever you please, fancy. But be careful. I agree, Sky. So I like. Thank you for the definition. Thank you for the hand there. Even while he's away, he's still above us.
He's still with us.
He's like Machina.
Right.
He's our hand of God. So there you go. So now we're gonna go into like a lot of meteor things.
Here we go.
Think so.
Here we go.
There was huge news today. So Annapurna.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on one day, they announced Malcolm McDowell to come in, and he's going to be Rupert Murdoch in Annapurna's Roger Ailes movie. Mm-hmm. Within 24 hours, the movie about Fox News gets canceled. Then we lose another movie. They lose a Jennifer Lopez movie, I believe.
Movie, yeah,
And first everything was about budget cost and this and that, and then the president of film exits, either got fired or leaves. Fired, and then so the president of film exit. They dropped 2 movies within 24 hours, and Larry Ellison, father of Megan Ellison, is coming in to do a major reorganization of Annapurna right now. And all this happened within 24 hours. Like 24 hours.
Yeah, something bad happened.
Yeah,
it was down.
They must have lost.
Something
happened. They must have lost an investor. I don't know.
Well, they had a really rough year last year. I mean, Detroit did not do that well. The movie that I loved, and they did zero promotion for, Professor Marsden.
Oh, right.
That movie bombed horribly as well. And then so far this year, I mean, there are big award campaigns this year with Beale Street. The trailer for Vice dropped last week.
Yep.
The Sisters Brothers too, right?
Yeah, Sisters, which not doing very well. I think the important lesson that we should take away from this is award movies don't necessarily sell and bring money in. And if you look at a lot of these films, they're pretty good examples of that. I mean, I think out of all these movies, I think Vice has the potential of making the most money.
100%.
But everything else that they have out, I mean, they're looking at maybe, if they're lucky, a box office of 20, 25 million.
But what's the difference between something like Annapurna and like Bleecker Street or The Orchard? I mean, they all have
they're probably all struggling, and the difference is that these projects that they've taken on, I think the budgets are outrageous for them.
Well, here's the thing too. Coming from a distribution background, it ain't easy.
No.
I mean, it really isn't easy. So when you look at a Bleecker Street compared to when you look at Bleecker Street and their overhead there, compared to what Annapurna would have as overhead there, it's completely different. Mm-hmm. So, you know, in for a bit, I would have put Annapurna more with right now A24 is really big. Excuse me, but STX.
Yes.
They had this cachet going in, and Megan Ellison being a successful producer, Annapurna Pictures, that was a production company. She had quite the modicum of success, and it was really interesting because her smaller budgeted movies were doing better than her brother, I believe, Dave Ellison, who's Skydance, right? And he wanted to make more commercial films, and a lot of his were tanking. And she was going huge. Now it almost seems the weights in the scale have tipped, but something happened. I'm not sure we'll know anytime soon, but there's supposed to be. I mean, when Daddy comes in and takes over and says we need to reorg, and that ultimately is going to lead to some layoffs, and really they got to figure out what they're going to do going forward. For me, I hope they stay and play the long game, because for me it's about content, and it's about delivering a variety of content. We can't afford to be losing distributors and studios like an Annapurna.
Yes.
We can't afford to do it. We need more of them because they do provide variety.
This is a good question.
What's this, Xeno Hour?
Yep.
All right. Should Annapurna move into an A24 model or go for potential blockbusters rather than these mid-budget movies? That is a great question.
That's the age-old
But my
debate.
answer to that is, I say you go A24 model. You go A24, you go Neon, and you go, and you can go Bleecker Street. We need more of these. Mid-level is hard, because at mid-level you have to get doubles and triples.
Yeah.
And to do that in this business is really hard. So that's a great question.
Yeah.
Xeno Hour, please write back. What do you think? Hey, these people, I'm telling you, these online people had some great thoughts, and we really appreciate
like I said, it's the age-old debate between making the superhero movies and making the award movies.
Right.
It's like it's always that case where how do we save independent film? How do we make sure that the distributors who put out those quality films, how do they keep going?
Right.
Maybe you do throw in a bigger budget film if you can, if that's the way you have to do it. But it's hard. It's hard. And, I think it's always going to be that way. I don't think there's ever going to be, unless, when a studio has its own independent arm, like Focus Features or whatever, that, usually can help. But it's just tough. And the thing is that the movies that are made, that are independent, that are good, and they're quality films, those are the Oscar contenders, and those are the ones that always get the awards, but nobody sees them.
Right.
No, that's true.
And the bigger problem, I think, nowadays is that there's just too many movies.
Yeah.
That's really an issue.
I can't keep up, man.
No, you can't, because we only talk about movies that are released by like a studio that we know, like A24 or Annapurna. But there's hundreds of these little production companies, like there's a movie you're going to be talking about on another show later, that All Square, is that what it's called?
Love
like
it.
who's going to see that movie? No one, because you don't even everyone else on this table is like, what is that? And there's so many films that come out each year, and I go to festivals and I see these movies and I watch some of them and I'm like, where is this going? Like this is like someone poured their heart and soul into this project, and no one outside of the people in this room are going to see this movie.
I really don't want Annapurna to go away.
I
it's
really
a bit
don't.
discouraging, because I love Detroit, I love Marston, I love Sisters Brothers. We need an entity that would give those quality stories to us. I don't want this just the commercial stuff. Maybe so whatever they got to do, if they have to adopt A24 model, or if they have to release theatrical and on demand at the same time, whatever they got to do, just try to survive.
So the comments online are really interesting, and Jack Dennis is saying independent cinema is on life support and has been for years, and I'm not entirely sure I agree with that they're on life support, because again, when companies like Neon and Bleecker Street can release these smaller movies and they're doing okay, right? A24 is doing really well.
Yeah.
They've had their misses for sure, but when they hit big.
Yeah.
Yes.
So and Annapurna just hasn't found that They haven't found that groove. I mean, look at STX.
Oh,
I mean, but they have.
I don't know how.
I don't know how.
I don't know how that company.
It's Chinese money.
That's
I mean,
amazing to me how that
Yes.
one's still up.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, it's amazing to me that that's still up. So, and this is going to segue into, because we did a little more studio talk, because it was also announced this week that the Disney Fox merger should be sealed and done by January 1st of 2019. That's what that scares me on so many fronts, and that's why Annapurnas and the A24s are so important to this business.
Yeah.
And this past weekend, though, again, is proof that variety can win. Like, I don't see a song, A Star Is Born, as being a superhero franchise. Well, you can't franchise that movie, right?
No.
There's not going to be a
You
part
can remake
two.
it again in like 10 years, but that's about it.
But again, it gives an audience something different.
Mm-hmm.
And the budget on that movie wasn't huge. 30,
No.
40 million,
Yeah,
maybe.
probably.
Maybe.
So that's why you need those. Well, you need STX to come up to the plate. We still have folks like Lionsgate who can release smaller budgeted movies. They need, like, really.
Yes.
They've had some hits. Overboard was big for that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So, which was actually Pantaleone.
Because I think of the crossover with the lead actor, and and also I think A Star Is Born also with Lady Gaga, because I'm sorry, but she has a huge following.
Right. Yeah.
Huge.
So, and then Jack Dennis goes on and says Netflix has been helping and hurting independent movies.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well,
segue into Netflix.
Well, we're going to segue into that in a second, but I still want to talk about this Disney deal, because this is why this studio talk, I believe, is so important to our business today. Many people are going to lose their jobs when this happens. They are, from what I understand, going to keep Fox Searchlight, because part of the deal was Disney wanted to go back to their Touchstone roots and their Hollywood Pictures roots, and release and be able to release an R-rated kind of movie. Everybody forgets that Pretty Woman was rated R.
It's true.
And it's they were releasing R-rated Down and Out in Beverly Hills, which I believe was a Touchstone. So they want to sort of that's what they're going to keep Fox Searchlight on, but it's sad for our business. It really is. Franchises and superhero movies alike, they don't need to rule. We need variety.
I also think the problem is that it hurts all the other studios.
Right.
I mean, I think you're about to hit on this, is that by Disney having so many properties under their belt, like, there's no way that it won't be number one every single year. And we're already looking at the box office. We talked about this, like, the yearly box office, it's usually like 8 or 9 out of the top 10 are Disney films right now.
Right.
This is going to be guaranteed, like, all 10.
Well, that's the thing too, and that's where it's got to be a new classification, because I've been working for studios and within the studio system for many years, and it was always cyclical. It's just that's nature of the game. It's cyclical. One year it could have been Disney. The next year it's Warner Brothers. They're thumping their chest. And it was Universal a couple of years later. Paramount is on a verge right now of making a huge comeback, right, under Jim Giannopoulos. And they've rebooted, and they're coming back. But when you have Disney's just got to be here, and you got to take the other 6 majors, put them off to the side, and that's where you go. Disney's its own entity. So, it's sad. It's interesting. Since you brought up Netflix, I do want to let's segue into Netflix, because this was okay. So Dwayne Johnson, Simon, I know you're watching. And I know you're a really big Dwayne Johnson fan, and I was too. I mean, because the man works hard. Like, if you get a man on you want an actor on your project, you want either Tom Cruise or you want Dwayne Johnson.
Why? Or Kevin Hart.
Or Kevin Hart.
You want Kevin Hart.
Right,
you want Kevin Hart.
You're correct. Why? Because they not only put the work in when they're making the movie, they stump the hell out of that movie, and they promote.
Yeah.
And right?
Yes.
So in Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, it was just. He throws a rock in the theatrical business, and I have issues. So it was just announced this week that Dwayne Johnson and Jumanji Helmer Jake Kasdan, they're going to reteam for John Henry family action movie set at Netflix. Okay, that is not where I have issue. That's fine.
That's fine.
That's fine.
No.
And in fact,
What he said.
we've said it before too. I think Netflix can help a studio, and they've done it already a couple of times when a studio has what they can deem a clunker, and they can like that-
Cloverfield.
Cloverfield. Oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah.
Again, I didn't hate that.
But if they feel that they can unload a movie and not have to do the marketing and the
Yes.
press and the hard drives and distribution, they can put it on Netflix and get equally as many people to watch it. Whether they like, if a movie sucks on Netflix, you just say, it's Netflix.
Yeah.
If a movie, right? If a movie sucks in a movie theater,
True.
you go, motherfucker, that
I
sucks.
just
There goes
spent
my money.
$20.
Right. So, but what he goes on to say is, and this is a quote, Simon, this is a quote, Netflix is the perfect partner and platform for us to continue entertaining our global audience in a disruptive way. What she said, mother, I'm so upset about this. In a disruptive way, Rock. What the hell are you doing? Like, you've made your bones for so many years to be an actor and to make it into being a big movie star.
You want to know what happened?
What happened? Money.
Rampage and Skyscraper. That's what happened.
Rampage did well.
Yeah.
But not as well as they were expecting.
Rampage
and
did well.
And Skyscraper did not do well.
And not domestically well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
International
but again,
He's another
And
international.
Baywatch.
Yeah.
okay. Baywatch suffered a lot of red tide.
Yeah.
So all I can say is that, though, I mean, he still has Jungle Cruise, Disney, which is going to do well, right? He's got another spin-off for Fast and Furious with Jason Statham.
Right.
Going to be huge, right? This is a man that was stumping for shitty movies like Hercules at CinemaCon and telling exhibitors. CinemaCon is a place where exhibitors go to see what's going on and to be excited about upcoming releases. And they do these big pomp and pageant shows at the Caesar's Palace, like where Elton John performs and such. And he is there like every year. And if he's not there, he sends in a video. And he says, I'm with you, exhibitors. You got to sell the big movie going experience. And now Mr. Big Movie Experience is talking about disrupting the big movie experience. Dude, I mean, come on. I know Ted Sarandon, like, you want to be up his butt, but give me a break. That to me was bad form. Like, the bad choice of words on his part.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if the folks and exhibitors are a little bit unhappy with now his stance. And I don't care that he makes a movie for Netflix.
Yeah.
But don't throw rocks.
What is it about Netflix, though? I that's another one. How is that surviving? Because it literally seems like they're spending money out their butts.
That is the question of the year or the decade at this point. Because does anyone at this panel have a Netflix account who just has a Netflix account for themselves, where they just use it by themselves?
I do.
I do.
Yeah.
You just use it. No one else has your password. No one else watches it.
No.
Same.
Rama?
No, I don't have Netflix account.
You don't have a Netflix
Netflix.
account. All right.
Wow.
I will tell you that from my experience, most people who I know, like myself, I have the password. My brother has the password. My wife's brother has the password. Her mom has the password. So, like, literally, and from what I understand and talked to people, most people have this. And even if you didn't have this, the $9 a month or $10 a month charge, that pays for, like, let's say, like, one of the shows that they spend. Some of these budgets I saw, like $120 million for, like, The Crown.
Right.
So how they're doing all these movies
But
week after week, a new TV show week after week, I don't understand.
And they're signing up all these big
I
people.
don't, what Ryan Murphy deal was like, what, $10 million in itself? And now they're talking about Dwayne Johnson, which I'm sure is another $10 million in itself.
Right.
And then they want to do this Bright sequel, which is going to be another $100 million. I mean, and then, working with Roma and now the Coen brother. Like, I don't understand this.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
I think that, well, I mean, they are global, right? So even that $10 a month or whatever it is, and they'll continue to go up. And don't forget, there are still people who are getting the physical too, and that's like $20 a month too.
That's my mom.
And that's, and that's like, right? No, but I mean,
But
there's
she can
still
order
people,
whatever she wants, and she loves that.
Exactly. So how Netflix makes their money, hey, God bless them. Everybody uses them. I get it. But
And
again,
they do have
just
some
going.
quality
They do.
quality material.
Sure, absolutely.
Well,
and I'm not busting them. I'm just like, come on, Rock. Like you wanted to be a movie star. You are that movie star. You support that business. Go be happy, and everybody, your fans are going to follow you to Netflix, right? Just don't throw rocks at that business.
and keep-
That's my biggest beef
No,
because
it's true.
you know I was like, what the fuck? I said and well, you brought up international box office.
Yeah.
I mean, his international stardom is huge.
I think, if I may, that goes to my point actually, because I read somewhere about Ted. You know, people were like, "Why did you throw money at Adam Sandler? You know, with all those movies?" And Ted said, "I'm paraphrasing. He's like, because his movies are number one on our Netflix globally." He said globally, even though we don't know where he got that number. You know, because they always keep that too close to their chest or like under wraps, like because we talked about like how do they make their money.
Yeah.
So, but you know. Yeah, Dwayne Johnson's movies, the past 3 ones, they don't do well here, but they do well internationally.
Yeah.
So something like Netflix, it could be a good thing
Yeah.
for Dwayne Johnson because his
well,
market
well,
is big.
as
I think the wording was bad.
Yeah,
That was
just
the
don't
problem.
knock
Yeah, I got you. That one I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, just say like I'm happy to
happy
be
for this
part
new-
of
yeah.
a new adventure or
new
something
adventure,
like that.
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
well,
Don't burn the bridge.
And
Don't burn the bridge.
speaking of the Jungle Cruise, I hope they put the Weird Al song in there. That's all I'm saying.
And Demetri,
Well, I
if you
guess-
really want to tell Dwayne what you think, you can just tweet at him. He'll read it.
Yeah. Have him-
will.
yeah. Well, piss on him. I work for Mel Brooks. I got to quote Blazing Saddles there. Slim Pickens from Blazing Saddles. All right, so okay, there has been a lot of chat regarding this Disney Fox thing. A lot of people concerned. Deadpool 3, if that's happened, will they keep it a hard R?
Yeah.
Personally, I think
Sure
yes.
they will. I think they will.
They would have to.
Well, what
They
about
would have to.
X-Men? That's the thing I'm curious about.
Yes.
As far as what?
Like
Ratings,
just
or-
having Marvel now finally have their hooks back into X-Men because Fox had held on to it for so long.
Oh.
Or maybe
Yeah,
they-
that's true. I mean, well, but now they have a better opportunity to integrate
Yeah.
because now they can do another Fantastic Four and they can
Yes.
bring them closer into the MCU. I mean, that was part of the deal anyway.
I'm sure that
But
was.
you still have to keep Deadpool in there. Like, it won't be released under Fox Searchlight. I don't know what they'll do. So, actually, I have a scoop here. A scoop. Simon Thompson admittedly, here, I didn't know this because people are going on about what he's doing and he's stunt doubling for Jason Statham. And Simon says, no, but he is but I am his ass double. Simon Thompson is Jason Statham's ass double. I'm just putting it
There
out
you
there.
go.
So there you go. That's a Meet the Movie Press
Exclusive.
scoop that comes from
And he pays a lot,
the
too.
head of Meet the Movie Press. So let's move on because there was other huge news that came out this week, right? Isaac James Gunn commits suicide. Oh, I meant see what happens when you leave out a
what?
preposition? What? James Gunn commits to Suicide Squad. And it looks like he's been hired by Warner Brothers in DC to write with an eye to direct the next installment of Suicide Squad. And it's not necessarily going to be a sequel, but he's going to do his own take.
gonna be a
And
I'm
it's
all for it.
already been
Yeah.
rumored that Dave Bautista wants in.
I'm on board, man. I mean, James Gunn. I mean, I understand the whole back and forth on all of that. I get it, but at the same time, he did such a great job with Guardians, and so screw you, Marvel.
Yep.
I'm like, all
Yep.
right, fine.
They
I'm gonna be over here then.
they made the right decision by doing this
Oh,
already.
absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
like, I mean, James Gunn, started off in the independent world making some weird ass movies that no one saw. But I mean, he took that Guardians franchise and I mean, he built it to what it is today. And DC, with their new restructure of everything that they're doing and getting all these really great directors on board, he's a smart one to have in their back pocket.
I
He
agree.
really is.
Credit where credit's due. I have problems with the WB's DC Cinematic Universe, obviously, and Suicide Squad movie. That was terrible.
Oh,
but
yeah.
but to your point, yes, I agree because James Gunn knows how to tackle characters, misfit characters.
Yes.
Rebels. People who are not viewed as heroes, and that's what Suicide
And
Squad is. Yeah.
as an ensemble.
Yeah.
Like he's able to juggle that.
Yeah.
and give everybody their time, and that's
true.
what people have a hard time doing is focus. So he does a really good job. I think it's a great get. I hope it really comes true. I hope it happens. And could you imagine? I mean, I'm not sure Marvel would like Dave Bautista to do a DC movie, but we'll see what happens.
Well, that's my question to you guys. He's contractually obligated to come back, right? I mean,
He
what
is.
what are the penalties that come with
A
if
lot.
he just leaves up and go like that?
It would be a lot for
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
It would hurt him. Like
Yeah.
I mean, he
Career-wise?
does. I would say financially
okay.
more. I mean, he would work, but financially that would hurt him. And then, but from a career standpoint, then the word gets out, and they will blackball him.
Yeah, he's an
Like, they
anti-Disney
will-
guy.
Yeah, well, he will be an anti-working guy. It's like he will you could just easily say he's not loyal. He doesn't commit to contracts. Look what he did. It would hurt. It would hurt him a lot to not. I mean, he's hinted that he may. I just don't think he's not Dwayne Johnson. Like The Rock could almost get away with that. Dave Bautista, not yet, I think. Yeah. And people love him as that character. I think he would be doing a great disservice to whoever comes on board to direct Guardians of the Galaxy. It's not that person's fault.
No.
It's not that person's fault. And I get it. You love James Gunn. You are hurried to do a job. This person could be a good person too. Give that person a chance. And he wouldn't be doing, at least in my opinion, not a good service to his fans.
I think Batista's going to stay on.
Yeah,
me too.
I think
Me
he
too.
will. I mean, but I don't see why he can't do this too. So
Yeah.
I mean,
He's going to do both.
I think he
We'll
might
see.
try to do both.
He could. I mean, he could. All right, so let's stay within the comic book world, shall we? Because other big news, Coogler going back to Wakanda. So Ryan Coogler is going to write and direct Black Panther 2. Wait, didn't Black Panther die? How can there be a 2? Didn't he fade away?
Spoiler!
That's not a spoiler. He
At
died.
this point,
They
it's
told
still
me.
spoilery. I don't know.
I mean, it's smart. It's smart to
Yeah.
bring him back for the sequel. And
That's like the news of the week. Like, I mean, there was like no surprise by that at all. I was like, I'm surprised it took them that long to announce it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I just hope that doesn't turn out like Jon Favreau's Iron Man 2.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, Iron Man 2 is terrible.
when you make so many movies, the law of averages catches up with
Yes,
you.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
think with Marvel too, like, I think in their own way, they're all good, but there's a degree of good. Like some movies are a lot better than others. So I think it's a smart move, which is going to stay. We're going to stay in Marvel Universe because the other big deal was so there's going to be a Black Widow movie, which I'm very excited about. So and Scarlett Johansson, like she webbed quite a hefty payday for herself,
And she deserves it.
No argument. You're not going to hear. I mean, I always hate these numbers are reported. So she's going to make $15 million.
Wow.
Well, it's been
For doing
reported
this.
that.
Yeah, I'm just saying I'm in the wrong
Marvel has
business.
come out and said, well, we don't talk about salaries.
Well, you're in the wrong business and I'm in the wrong fashion. So I do not look as good as Scarlett Johansson or half the actors that are out there. So, and it's interesting because it is the salary that Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth each earned for playing Captain America. Now, in Thor, respectively. Thank you. I had to burp. I had to come up for air. So, hey, Simon's got to go. Hey, buddy, thanks for being on. Don't worry, Scott didn't take it personally that you didn't hop on when he was doing the show.
Yeah.
Can't wait for you next week.
Bye. Bye, Simon.
Bye, Simon. Love you. We like to laugh here.
Yes.
We love to poke fun at each other.
Yes.
So, which is interesting, going back to Captain America and Thor, right? Black Widow, up to this point, has been great support. She was, like, in Winter Soldier or Civil War, she was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And the chemistry between
And
her...
we got to see a little bit about her
Right,
backstory
right.
in that one of the ones where she has to go back in her
Right.
brain or whatever. So I'm curious. I'm hoping, praying that they don't do an origin story from the very
Oh,
start.
my God,
I
yes,
just
I
hope
hope
because
so.
we already know where she came from. We already know she was put into this horrible program or whatever. And what is it?
Well put.
Yeah.
The assassin is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, I just hope they kind of start in a different point.
Same here, because we already know the character.
Exactly.
I don't need to know much backstory.
That's
I
right.
agree. Let's talk a little Captain Marvel, because somebody else just signed a huge...
No, this is debunked.
Oh, it is debunked. Oh, all right.
Oh,
Brie Larson came out and said, nope.
She
Not
did
true?
not sign a big picture
Yep,
deal?
She did not.
All right, so we're not going to talk about Captain Marvel, other than the fact is that I saw the trailer in IMAX for the first time. It was on before First Man, and that trailer in IMAX, I'm telling you, folks, watching a trailer on a computer compared to a screen like IMAX, especially Captain Marvel, I was like, I didn't see that. What? It looks great.
Awesome.
It looks awesome. I really can't wait. So we are running out of a little bit of time. Let's go over. I know. Time flies when you're being bored by
Anthony, can we get 5 extra minutes?
Maybe. I want to talk about, let's talk about some new trailers that hit this week, okay? Because there were at least 3.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start off with the horror movie first.
Yes.
Pet Sematary.
Oh my gosh.
Pet Sematary broke this week.
Okay, I'm very passionate about Stephen King. I'm very passionate about Stephen
Stephen
King.
King rules, as they say in the Monster Squad.
The Pet Sematary book is so scary. It's such a scary book. And that first movie they did in the 80s was just, just hurt
Really?
my
You
heart.
didn't like
No.
it? See, I rewatch it again. I just recently rewatched it. It's a dark movie.
It's still dark. No, the themes are all still there. I just didn't feel the same kind of sort of creepy foreboding. And then, I mean, when the kid starts to come, when he comes back and he's all like, it just kind of, it got stupid to me, all right? It just got
what did the little kid do? Oh, wow, just like that.
it got stupid to me. So, this one looks fantastic, though.
It looks good.
Yeah.
That
John
cat.
Lithgow, I love him.
I actually disagree. I think this movie looks terrible.
Oh.
I do.
Hoofa.
I don't. Hoofa. I'm
Really?
sorry. Yeah, it didn't work for me.
Not even the cat?
Not even the cat.
Cats never
Cat
work
looks
for me.
great.
I know.
That's creepy.
I like to be the bummer.
the
I like to be the
streets.
bummer on this show every once in a while.
Did you like the original movie or
It
adaptation?
was okay.
It's okay.
I mean, it's like what Kid says. When you look at Stephen King, most of his novels are so much better than the movies. I mean, that goes without saying for almost everything. But recently, we had with Kit and I saw together the It remake, which was just really well done. But most of Stephen King's adaptations have not been that great.
Well, it just depends. I mean, there's been 2 directors, in my opinion, who have been able to hit it right: Frank Darabont and Rob Reiner. And it's Darabont, I think, has some sort of psychic connection with Stephen King.
Yeah.
Sure.
But he picked movies that are easily translated to the screen.
I'm sorry. I think
books.
John Carpenter did a really good job with Christine.
Yeah.
I like Christine.
Really?
Yep.
It was okay.
I think Christine's a good movie.
okay.
Oh, I think
Yeah.
Brian De Palma did a pretty good job with Carrie as well.
Yes.
Yep.
I also like
But
theater.
I just think Darabont has a particular in.
Agreed, but
The Mist
I mean,
was one of the best. I just.
Oh,
See,
yes,
I
yes,
wasn't a
yes,
Mist
yes.
fan. I didn't like that ending at all.
Demetri.
What can I tell you? Sky Patterson says, I can't wait to see Pet Sematary. So excited. I really like the original Paramount Pictures. Don't screw this up. Sky, I'm gonna
good
have to
point.
say that I agree that they can't afford to screw it up, but they've been on a hot streak.
They have.
I mean, they had A Quiet Place, Mission Impossible. Everything looks to be going their way with Bumblebee. Again, we brought it up a little bit earlier under Jim Giannopoulos' helm. I really think that they're going to bring us another really good horror film. I know you don't like it, but maybe it'll change your mind with the second trailer.
I mean,
You know.
it might. I mean, the one thing that I will give most credit to genre right now. I mean,
Yeah.
horror movies have been knocking it out of the park.
Yeah.
They generally do.
Yeah, well, in terms of box office, for the most part, yes, always. That's why most studios have gone after them. But it's so rare up into this last 2 or 3 years where most of the mainstream horror movies that came out have actually been really good. Before then, they were kind of you would get one good one a year and all the rest would be crap.
Right.
But now it's everything I see now. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. This is great. This is great. I mean, Quiet Place, Hereditary this year.
Yeah.
Hereditary. Okay. Anyways, moving along. The next trailer, the second trailer for Glass dropped.
Yes.
And for me, anyways, the second trailer was much better than the first.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
I'm
We're back on the
excited.
same page.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. Welcome.
Yeah,
Welcome.
thank you.
It's
Glad
still
to have you.
it's still a January movie, so I'm keeping it very, very, very
Yeah.
low. Yeah.
No,
You
no,
think
I
AFI
disagree.
premiere?
Listen,
AFI premiere?
If I premiere,
Because Split premiered at AFI.
Oh, I see
do you
what you
think?
mean.
Do you
Okay.
think it's going to premiere there?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
You know what? I have to. I have to disagree with that
Sometimes
because
January works.
because basically it's what we were talking about the business, right? They're spreading movies out, so we're not getting them. Yes, we get a lot in the summer, we get a lot in Christmas, and then everything else is filler. Hollywood has been doing their best to try to round out that calendar to give us. That's why movies like the superhero movies are coming out in March now,
Yes.
and things like that. So. Right
And
now,
February, too. I mean,
if a movie stinks, then you go, yeah, I get why they did January. But if a movie like can work, then you go, well, that topples everybody else. But it's a good trailer.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
trailer.
it's really
so
good.
then Aladdin dropped this morning, the teaser trailer. I liked it. I mean, the movie's gonna make a fortune.
I'm sure.
A fortune.
I'm sure.
It
gonna
is.
make-
I just hope Will Smith does that role.
Oh, I
proud.
know.
Me too.
I'm a
So we're
little
at
worried.
0 seconds. So, listen, we got to talk quickly. The movie's opening up this weekend. We have First Man. It did $1.1 million in previews, about 17 to 20 million opening estimates. Bad Times at the El Royale. I know you really love the movie. I'm being
like it.
sarcastic.
It was okay.
And Simon thought it was okay as well. 600 to 700K, 8 million opening estimate. I would think they'd want more. And then Goosebumps, 750K opening estimated for 14 to 16.
I enjoyed Goosebumps.
I love Goosebumps.
Did you like it better than the first one?
Certain aspects. It was
Really?
weird because I thought certain aspects of the first movie were better than this one, but the costume design and the like the story was weaker in this one, but the adventure was so much better in this one.
Was it?
The humor was one.
Yeah, the
Okay.
humor was fun too.
I might actually go see it now. So, well, thank you all who are online. You'll have to forgive me. I'm not as good as Simon. I know Simon is like great at being. I can
You did
barely
a great
walk.
job.
I can barely walk and
You did
chew
a great
gum.
job.
I'm
You
not,
did a great job.
Thank you.
Yes.
I just wanted to say, and thank you to all you folks who are watching, listening, and doing. Well, you're spending your time with us. You're spending your time with us. So we are the best show about the biz for the biz, and the industry does watch. We're going to be on Spotify. We are on Spotify about a week after,
Love
but
Spotify.
we're on Spotify. That's amazing to me. That's great. So, quickly, Ram, where can people find you?
Yes, you can find me at youtube.com/ramascreen1 with number 1, and then on Twitter, ramascreen with 2 S.
You can find me at the Movie Kit on Twitter. I don't have a YouTube.
At the Movie Kid on Twitter. And Scott, could you keep your where we can find you under a half hour?
Possibly. So you can-
ACLO.
Yeah, that show comes on at 11 a.m., so in exactly 50 minutes from now. And then I'm on Black Tomatoes with Carla Renata on Sunday at 5 p.m. And
Yeah, at the
WeLiveEntertainment.com. What else? What else do you want to say? Twitter. Oh, the Twitter. The Twitter is the other Scott M because there's so many Scott M's in the business. So I am the other Scott
love
M.
that.
So don't forget.
All right. Under 30 minutes. Great. And please support me on the Twitters at DMovies1701. You can find me here at Meet the Movie Press and later on Anatomy of a Movie, also another Popcorn Talk Network show. Thank you so much for watching, listening, and being with us at Meet the Movie Press today. See you at the movies. See you at the Halloween convention if anybody's going. I will be there all weekend. Look for me. I'll be there. I'm not wearing a mask because, who'd want to hide this? Bye, guys.
Bye.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.